Today's meditation by Scott Stoner is entitled The Courage to Practice Grace Under Pressure. It begins with a quote from Sam Rodman, the Bishop of North Carolina. "This is God's grace for each of us, to be set free from our fears, to find the courage to speak our truth, to discover that courage is a gift." In yesterday's reflection, Sam Rodman shared Ernest Hemingway's words, "Courage is grace under pressure." I have chosen the spirit of this quote as the theme for this week. As Sam describes so well, it takes courage to choose to respond with grace at any time, but especially when we are under the pressure of some stress or challenge. Everyone experiences pressure, sometimes even extreme pressure, in their lives and in their lives of the ones they love. The question is not if we will experience stress in our lives, but rather how will we choose to respond to it. The key word in the previous sentence is the word respond. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist, wrote a highly respected book entitled Man's Search for Meaning, which includes this quote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." There is a crucial distinction between reacting to stress and responding to stress. When we merely react, we often blame the stress or someone or something other than ourselves for our reaction. Responding is different than reacting in that it involves our thoughtfully choosing the response we wish to make. As the quote above from Sam Rodman reminds us, God has given us the freedom to think and not merely react out of fear and stress, and to have the courage to respond with grace. Let's make it personal. Think about the quotes from Sam Rodman and Viktor Frankl. What speaks to you in each of these quotes? Let me repeat them. Sam Rodman said, "This is God's grace for each of us, to be set free from our fears, to find the courage to speak our truth, to discover that courage is a gift." And Viktor Frankl wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Can you think of times when you have handled stress by either reacting or responding? What was the difference when you were able to respond rather than react? The quote from Viktor Frankl begins, "Between stimulus and response, there's a space." But very often, there's not very much space between the two. Sometimes the stresses in our lives seem so overwhelming that we respond as fast as we can to minimize the threat or the perceived danger. Perhaps it would be more helpful to put it this way. Between stimulus and response, there needs to be a space. We need time to thoughtfully choose how to respond. How do we make such a space? Sometimes it's literally a breathing space, a couple of deep breaths, or counting to 10. But sometimes we need more space, time to pray, time to seek advice, time to consider all the options or to look at things from different perspectives. And one way to make sure you have that space is to stop and give thanks. Give thanks for God's grace. Give thanks for the assurance that God is always there and that ultimately things will be all right. And having stopped to give thanks, you will find you have the space to respond gracefully yourself to whatever stress life brings your way. God bless you and keep you safe during your Lenten journey and bring you with joy to the Easter feast. And remember that you are always loved.